Hey everybody, Frank here. Thanks for stopping by today. So, if you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe and like and comment on this video. This is a different type of video for me. Usually I have outdoor related videos of all different types of topics, but this one's going to be a movie review on Rambo: Last Blood. So, the Rambo franchise has always been a franchise that I really cared about. I hold it close and near to my heart. I watched First Blood with my dad back in the 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there, and it was one of the first movies that really got me interested in a character, in John J. Rambo, because he was into wilderness survival and firearms and knives and all that kind of stuff, and I have hobbies intertwined with all of those things to this day, and I know I'll have those hobbies for the rest of my life. And Sylvester Stallone in that role as John J. Rambo really got me into those kind of interests. So I just, really always liked this series. First Blood's my favorite movie, and as time has went on, the movies have changed a lot, but First Blood is always going to be one of my favorites of all time. I like the movie. I think that on its own, it's definitely not a great film. This is not going to be anywhere near at all a Golden Globe nominee or an Oscar nominee, but really and truly, none of the movies ever really were. First Blood was definitely a step up over all the other films, in my opinion, but they're all, they all have a following and a very large fan base. For me, what I thought the movie did well was, I like the fact that in general, you got a lot more time with John Rambo. Anytime he's on the screen, I'm always going to watch it, because I like seeing him interact with things, and I like seeing how he responds to certain situations. I like him as a character, because when Stallone plays him, he doesn't talk a lot. He thinks a lot about things, and it's just really, for me, it's fun and interesting to watch him respond to certain situations that he finds himself in. Overall, spending more time with John, the action scenes, I thought those were like the two big highlights of the movie. And if you're not a Rambo fan, or you're kind of new to the franchise, spending time with John might not have felt that significant to you, because he doesn't say a lot. There's not a ton of dialogue in any of his movies, and the movie was only about 85 or 87 minutes long, something like that. It's a pretty short movie. None of the Rambo movies have ever been that long, but I believe this is the shortest one. So now, what I think he did wrong with the movie, I feel that they spent too much time on the action scenes and not enough time on character development and giving you more time with those characters so that you care about them, including John. So everyone just wants to see John Rambo more or less kill the bad guys. Well, I feel like there's more to the story than that, and I try to really, dive into it and see it from that point of view. And sometimes with these movies, there's not that much there to really grasp. You're sort of grasping at straws to try and make a great story out of the 87 minutes they give you. So for me, that's why I guess I was a little bit disappointed. I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I had a great time, but I personally felt they could have done a lot more with character development, time with John. I wish they would have tied back a little bit more into First Blood. I wish so bad that they would have tied in the scars that he had on his chest and on his back that we saw in the flashbacks in First Blood. I wish so badly that they would have had a scene where someone from the drug cartel that he was going up against looked into who John Rambo was when they had his driver's license, and at some point, even if it only lasted a minute, they would have said, "Hey, so-and-so, we have to take this seriously. John Rambo is a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. He's a Green Beret, ex-military special forces. This isn't a guy to take lightly." I wish at some point they would have tied back who he was. And even though he's 73 years old, they would have approached it a little bit differently. I just wish that they could have done that, And I also, because the movie was so short, I feel like any extra scenes that they had filmed, they should have tried to incorporate them into the movie. Now, I'm not a producer. I don't know what the films look like. I don't know what the reasons were that they didn't put those scenes into the movie, but I know for a fact that there was a whole series of scenes that they filmed where John Rambo in the beginning of the movie originally was helping people with a flood, and he was wearing a rain jacket and a cowboy hat, and he was on horseback, and it was at night, and he was rescuing people and helping with the flood. I don't know why they didn't put that in the movie. Stallone also said in interviews he did more PTSD scenes where it showed the post-traumatic stress of John and his character, and I wish they would have tried to incorporate more of that in there. I just feel that having that plot that has a little bit more meat to it can really go a long way. And I always thought that they should have tried to balance that a little bit more in Rambo 2, 3, 4, and this one as well, and not make it just an all-out action scene with tons of explicit gore. This movie's very violent. It's not, I watched a lot of reviews, and everyone said it's borderline, if not the most violent movie they've ever seen. One of the most violent / gory movies they've ever seen. It was up there with me too, but for me, I enjoyed it. Again, I really did enjoy it, but a little less gore would have went a long way, and a little more, I think, story would have really helped out. So for me, I won't spoil anything for you. I just want to end by saying that I hope that Stallone sits down, reads some reviews, and he comes out with one more movie with a really good story that somehow ties back into previous installments of this series and gives John Rambo the send-off that everybody really deserves. Because John Rambo is an awesome character, and there's so many people that want to know more about him, and he has a huge fan base, and I just hope somehow that he comes up with the right fitting ending to this character. And to me, you can have a great story, but if the ending's not right, it can never truly be great. And I just feel that if they make the ending better, it can help reconcile some of the problems that this whole franchise has seen over the last 37 years. And all that being said, it kind of pains me to sound negative about this movie, because I really did enjoy it, and I really did love this movie. If you're a Rambo fan, if you're a fan of action movies, check this movie out. It's a very short movie with not a lot of character development, not a real thorough plot. It's kind of cliche and predictable, and for Rambo though, I feel it works. And like I said, I like seeing him on screen. I like seeing how he interacts with things, and I really did enjoy it. I just wish they could have spent a little bit more time in certain places, or maybe even less time in other places. So that's kind of it, guys. That's my opinion on Rambo Last Blood. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. If I have to do a 1 to 10 rating, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think I could even say that if you're a Rambo fan, you might give it an 8 out of 10. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, just strictly from a Rambo fan base point of view. If you're a movie critic, you could probably give this movie a 4 out of 10. Something like that. That's probably about what my range is. That's why I'm averaging the two. I'm going to say I give it a 6 out of 10. I really love John Rambo as a character, and like I said in the beginning of this video, First Blood's one of my favorite movies of all time. But there were some things this movie did wrong, and it made it hard to really stand out, among the Rambo franchise. It was from a totally different point of view, seeing John with a family and what happens when that's taken away from him, which is something we can all relate to. But for me, I really don't think that John has went full circle yet. Anyhow, guys, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching. Please, if you've watched this long, please subscribe. Stay tuned for great outdoor videos. Thanks for everything. I'll see you in the next one.